Newton's Nemesis is a math mystery comic book series designed to teach fractions, but that's not all. This brief video will cover the research on teaching fraction division and how teachers can use Newton's Nemesis to improve student conceptual understanding, while also improving their self-confidence in tackling math. But let's begin by discussing how division with fractions should be introduced to children. There was an interesting study conducted with students the summer after they completed 5th or 6th grade. The researchers gave the children fraction bars and demonstrated how they could represent fractions or whole numbers. They randomly divided the children into two groups and gave them problems to solve with the bars, asking them to explain their reasoning. Both groups were given the same problems, but in a different order. The first group were given problems with only whole numbers, then problems involving fractions. The second group received the problems that were grouped by operations, first addition, and then subtraction, etc. Who do you think did better? If you said Group B, you're right, and what they learned is that we need to activate student knowledge of whole numbers before starting with lessons on fraction division. Their work inspired the character Leah, the precocious little sister in Newton's Nemesis. She's just learning division, and in the series, Theo sometimes argues with her about division or explains fraction concepts. When they do argue, they are making valuable connections between whole number division and fractions. But it's also an opportunity to develop analogical reasoning. Analogical reasoning is the ability to perceive structural similarities among math problems that might not appear to be similar on the surface. So when children connect the structural elements of whole number division and fraction division, they're reasoning by creating analogies. In a 2004 study, a comparison of 8th grade classrooms in America, Hong Kong, and Japan revealed that teachers in all countries used analogies with the same frequencies. But American teachers were more likely to use analogies to teach procedures rather than concepts. So as we work with children to understand whole number division and fraction division, we have to think about the concept and models of division. There are many different models of division, and different story problems can evoke different conceptual models for children to explore and make connections between whole numbers and fractions. These include measurement, equal sharing, and also the missing factor, but there are many more. The interactions between Theo and Leah also invite discussion about mathematical language. As the Common Core standards state, mathematically proficient students try to use clear definitions in discussions with others and in their own reasoning. By asking children to write about mathematics in Newton's Nemesis, they have the opportunity to reflect on how important the or a can be. After all, there's a difference between receiving a third of a gallon of ice cream or getting the third scoop of ice cream. As students write about math, they become more precise in their language and understand the nuances of mathematical language. You can download note cards on my website to help you integrate writing into your math lessons with Newton's Nemesis, or simply ask children to write in their math journals. Remember that when children write about mathematics, they are developing their communication skills, clarifying their mathematical reasoning and conceptual understanding, and providing key points of formative assessments that teachers can use to improve their teaching and their children's learning. If you decide to have your children write and exchange their story problems, they can also critique each other's work, giving them practice in constructing arguments or critiquing the reasoning of others. In the first issue of Newton's Nemesis, students can create story problems that connect whole number division to fraction multiplication. In the second, they'll create problems using measurement model of division as they determine how many fractions are in each whole number. In addition to writing about mathematics, students can also reflect on how they learn about mathematics. We always want to encourage reflection and metacognition in our students, since there's a large body of research that says students who reflect on their learning, understanding, and performance are more likely to succeed. In Newton's Nemesis, there are many opportunities to invite children to reflect on Theo's learning as well as their own. I've added Theo's mother to help. She's inspired by Joe Bowler's research on mathematical mindset. Dr. Bowler works with Carol Dweck at Stanford University and argues that we need to shift from a culture that equates errors in mathematics to "I'm not good at math" to one that encourages children to, as Miss Frizzle, the cartoon character, would say, get messy and make mistakes. If young readers pass over her comments, they'll certainly see it again in the next few pages. When Theo's mom says, "Scientists have shown that your brain actually grows when you struggle to figure something out," she sets the stage for Theo's nightmare. Fractions chase him down the hallway and cause his head to swell as they launch their attack. Not only does his brain literally grow in a nightmare, but this invites another question. What math operation with fractions would cause a whole number to increase? Teachers can leverage the scene to discuss a common misconception. Does multiplying by a number always make something bigger? Does dividing by one always make something smaller? I've also interjected other 5th grade math standards in Newton's Nemesis. For example, exploring quadrilaterals. Students can search for trapezoids, squares, rectangles, parallelograms throughout the story. But be careful, sometimes the frames might look like quadrilaterals but are really pentagons. What a great opportunity for children to justify their conjectures with precise mathematical language. I've also created worksheets on plotting coordinates, but hid them as a map code. Can your students figure out where our heroes plan to meet so that they can plot against Miss I Divide? You can also use Newton's Nemesis to connect to history. Notice that Theo and his friends live in Banneker, Maryland. That's named after Benjamin Banneker. From 1731 to 1806, he was our first African American pioneer of science and mathematics. I hope you see that there's plenty of math in Newton's Nemesis based on the latest research and on 5th grade Common Core standards. There's more resources available at my website, including downloadable worksheets and a teacher's guide. Just visit my site and contact me if you're interested in hosting a workshop. I'd be happy to help you bring this to your classroom.